Hello and welcome to the T Squared Handyman channel, where we go over the do's and don'ts and things you don't want. Anyways, we're doing some cut-in today and a slight product review. So we were using the Sher line, cute little tool, works decently well, fairly well. You know, it's great for the Harry, the homeowner, you know, do-it-yourselfer. So you don't have to waste your time with a whole bunch of tape. But you will, as you see, get a couple of little squigglies because the mud is not always true, it's not always straight. It's rare that you ever have a wall that is straight, or as they call true, or plumb. But what we're doing today is some simple cut-in techniques. Got my young man behind the camera, learning a thing or two. So, starters, you know, you gotta figure out whatever brush you feel comfortable with. This is a nice, soft Woodster Pro, you know, not represented or promoting, but it's a soft bristle, so we get a little bit more play out of it. And so as you mix your paint, make sure you get some of the stuff off the bottom. But as you go to mix your paint, you also want to make sure that you're not pouring it down the front, so maybe you can read the label after you've used it, because a lot of people will just cream it all the way down, which is okay when you're rolling because you're just dumping and slapping on the wall really quickly. But you want to keep your edge kind of clean so it has a nice seal on your can when you go back to it, or else you just get crispies in it, you know, like some bad fried chicken. But anyway, so let's kind of get into this. Where to start? Well, I already started running that way, but I got a couple of fixes I gotta do right here really quick. Well, it's starting to set up already, so we'll have to go back and cut in with the ceiling paint one more round. But that looks decent. But so as you see, the corner of the Sher line would dip up and like catch up into the ceiling, hence why you see a couple spikes where the paint got a little loose. As you see, the wobbles where it's flowing up and down is from where somebody had sanded the ceiling, and the wheels might have not, they have little wheels on it that roll. The wheels might have not been true to center, so that could have been causing a little bit of up and down swaying, kind of like a nice ocean current. But we don't want ocean current style cut in, we want true cut in, and to let it flow. Sometimes you have to go a little up, sometimes you go a little down, but as long as it all flows, it looks good to the eye. Alright, here we go. Get a little dab. Usually don't want to go more than an inch above your brush line because it's naturally going to travel up as you're painting. Always try to keep it touched on the front so you don't get paint on your magnet, so it keeps your hand nice and clean, or else your hand starts to look like this. It just gets everywhere, and then, you know, then it's a real party. You don't need to be afraid to touch the ceiling as long as you're not going all over it. So I'm putting my excess right here, then going into the excess. Boom. Nice and clean. Sometimes you want to go nice and slow so you don't want to pull too much paint off. So I got a couple streaks right here. You might not be able to see it because of the lighting, but when you're actually doing it face to face, you'll see a couple little light stroke marks. So what that is you're pulling the paint out of position of where you want it. Alright, so now we're done that one. We're gonna hop on down and move to the next section. So some of this of what I'm doing is just blending so we don't have any heavy striations from the Sher line. I guess I should recut that, huh? Since we want to get it a little bit better. than what that is giving us. So as we're running down, I want to sometimes bend a little bit more, but when I bend more, it flares the edges of that brush bristles up. Granted, so you want to go off the highest point as your cut-in marker. The highest bristle, usually sometimes you get a little, when you go to do this move, you get a little bit of paint bead start to bubble up, just like a little, like a little dewdrop. See right there, boom. You're gonna keep it running. And the trick is to quite literally stare at the tip of your brush tip at your high spot that you're using. And we're just gonna take some of the excess off the sides so we can keep moving. It's fairly simple. The Sher line thing was a neat little gadget. So I want to stand it up a little bit more to get into that edge. Don't want to rush it too fast going into it. So that's cleaned it up pretty gosh dang well already. Eliminated some of our oceanic waves that our Sher line was surely giving us. Starting to get low. So when you have only that much paint and there's nothing on the edge, it's not going to really work the way you want it, because you can usually get a little bit off the side just to keep going. And so we're spreading out, so all it takes is a quick little jig up against the side of the cup, straighten the bristles out, give a nice little dab. So as we're cutting in, we want to figure out which side we're going to be wanting to have the paint on. Clearly we're going to want it on the upper side, because if it's on the bottom, it's going to drip off. So, and I actually prefer to go from left to right pulling, because I can drop my shoulder into it in my body and it just gives it a nice smooth clean run. So we're going to show how we get in this corner. You're going to go in straight, try to be a little delicate coming in, and then pull it on out. Boom. And there. And that's how we get our corners cut. So we're going to have a little bit of excess on this wall. I'm just going to pull that off just a little bit. Like you're trying to paint a little tree.
Happy little trees.
Happy little trees. Favorite painter ever.
We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents.
That's right. Clearly somebody's been brushing up on his Bob Ross. So we're going to come back in here.